It's official. After 13 years on sale in Europe, the Nissan GT-R is dead. As of the end of April 2022, you will no longer be able to order a new one. Game over for Godzilla. But why? The reason for its untimely demise is a bit bizarre. According to Nissan, they had to kill the GT-R because of a set of rules that were first drafted in 2014. Regulation EU 540/2014 specifies a new set of rules on the amount of noise vehicles can make either while they're stationary or whilst they're driving down the street. And there are good reasons for having these rules. There are some very loud cars out there. Here's what a Lamborghini Hurricane sounds like. Pretty sweet, but nobody wants that blasting past their bedroom at 11:30 on a school night. But here's what a Nissan GT-R sounds like. Not bad, but it's nowhere near Lambo territory. So why is it that the Nissan GT-R is being killed off despite not having anywhere near the loudest engine in the game? Well, I have a theory, and it's not what you might think. First of all, quick history lesson. The people who make the rules of the road have always thought that cars are too loud. Excessive noise regulations were first introduced here in the UK on August 1st, 1929, 1 year after the decibel was invented. Over the years, noise limits have been made more and more strict, and manufacturers have been steadily quietening their cars to ensure they meet those targets. In 1978, we introduced a limit of 82 decibels, and then in 2016, that noise limit was dropped to 72 decibels. But Regulation EU 540/2014 is a constantly moving goalpost. By 2026, the limit for most new passenger cars will be 68 decibels, which is basically no noise at all. That's probably the same volume that you're listening to me coming through your speakers on your laptop or your phone right now. Can you imagine a Ferrari or a Lambo not being allowed to make more noise than me on YouTube? It sounds crazy, but that's the direction that we're heading in. We did a film last year where I compared the sound of a Ferrari 360 Modena made in 1999, which sounds like this, epic, and a Ferrari F8 Tributo made in 2021, which sounds like this. Not so epic. But by the time 2026 rolls around, new Ferraris will have to be even quieter, and most of the sound they make might end up being generated by speakers inside the car rather than the engine and exhaust pipes outside the car. Measuring sound and checking for legality is quite complicated, and the methods vary depending on the type of vehicle and whether they're measuring stationary or moving vehicles. In the EU, when they're measuring stationary sound, they place a microphone 7 meters away from the car, 1.2 meters above ground, and then rev the engine either as high as it will go or at 3/4 of the engine speed where the car makes its maximum power. Obviously, most sports cars make their max power at very high revs and are very loud when they reach the red line, which is why manufacturers are now being forced to install software limiters to stop the car revving much more than around 3,000 RPM. When you're measuring rolling sound, the volume that a car makes when it's driving past you, they use a pretty similar setup with the microphones, but they place lines on the road. The car approaches the first line at about 50 kilometers an hour. The driver floors it until they pass the second line, and then they immediately lift off. Okay, so the V6 turbo in a GT-R would have made a fair bit of noise in this test, especially with those massive exhaust pipes. But here's my theory on what really killed this car. Have a look at the four corners of a GT-R. Tell me what you see. Yeah, big, massive, noisy wheels and tires. That's the elephant in the room, I think. That, to me, might be the smoking gun. Tires contribute massively to the volume of a car as it passes by the roadside, as does aerodynamic interference from the big wings, etc. Go stand outside your house and have a listen. Most of what you're hearing isn't engine or exhaust noise, it's the rubber on the road and the noise of the wind as the car cuts through it. All tyres in the EU now have to have a noise rating. But here's the thing, even the tires with the highest A rating generate between 67 and 71 decibels. In the video clip that we've just seen, they cut the engine completely and just coasted past the microphones. But the tires, plus a bit of wind noise, made 70 decibels. Okay, I'm not sure what speed the car was doing. Maybe it was above 50 kph, but not much. And still, in 2026, the total noise limit for cars is going to be 68 decibels, total. In 4 years, cars won't be making much more noise than the tires that they roll on. And I'm not talking about tire squealing, I'm talking about just driving in a straight line. So now, sports cars have really got their work cut out. The only real way they stand a chance of meeting those noise targets is to have good, quiet tires and to make sure their engines make hardly any noise. It looks like petrol and diesel cars have basically been set up to fail. So what's going to happen? Well, we know what's going to happen to the GT-R, RIP. But it also means every other sports car is under threat unless they evolve. And by evolve, I mean shut up. That applies in the EU and the UK because that's the law in this region, but it also matters in other big markets like the USA because we're going to see global manufacturers move away from the types of cars that make excessive noise. Proof? Look at the Huracan. It's dead. The Aventador. It's dead. The next generation of Lambos will be hybrid powered. Ferrari is getting ahead of the game with their hybrid, the 296 GTB. McLaren is moving into hybrids too with the Artura. Mercedes-AMG is going electric. And even with the cars that do use petrol power, what we're starting to see is that their exhausts are being tuned to be very quiet. And most of the engine noise you hear is actually coming from the speakers inside the car. So the question for Nissan when it comes to the GT-R is, could they have taken any of those steps to change their car to help it pass the noise regulations? Could they make skinnier tires? I mean, that would make it quieter, but also make the car worse and less grippy. Could they create a hybrid? Or should they go all electric? Interestingly, the electric route is something they're seriously considering. According to the internet, Nissan doesn't think the current crop of battery technology is quite advanced enough to put into a GT-R, but they're investing big money into battery tech that promises more power and less weight than the technology we have currently. Will they pull it off? I hope so. I want to see GT-R. You know, and Nissan, they kind of seem to have fallen out of love with sports cars recently. They announced that the Z Coupe wouldn't be coming to Europe, and then they pulled the plug on the GT-R, and they seem to be dragging their heels somewhat. So who knows? But long term, the possibility of an electric R36 is a mouth-watering prospect, and one that I hope happens. A Godzilla for the modern age. Anyway, what do you guys think of all these noise regulations? Do you like quieter cars? Do you want louder cars? Is this new set of rules forcing innovation, or is it stifling the culture? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.